guys!
Hey guys!
We're back again with another Walking Dead video. In this video, we're going to be talking about our theories regarding a character named Negan. He's the villain who's going to be introduced very soon. This video is going to contain spoilers from the comic book, so if you're not reading the comic book and you're avoiding spoilers, or if you're not totally caught up on the show, skip this video and come back later, because everything we say from this point forward is going to be a spoiler. Okay, so in the mid-season premiere, the very first scene, Daryl blows up Negan's biker gang with an RPG. And if you look really, really close, you can see a car pull up behind the biker gang right before Daryl fires the RPG. Now, the big theory going around the internet right now is that Negan was in that car and he witnessed this, and therefore he is going to kill Daryl in his introduction rather than Glenn like he did in the comic books.
Yes.
Now, there's a lot of problems with this particular theory, and we're going to go through those problems and then talk about who we think might be more likely to meet their end at the end of Lucille. Okay, first of all, the problems with this particular theory. First of all, that car is like 400 yards away.
Yeah.
So, unless Negan has binoculars, and he very well could, there's no way he saw exactly who fired the rocket launcher, if he could even see them at all, because the entire biker gang didn't see him.
Yeah, that's the second problem with this theory, is that he's walking up to the biker gang and shoots them. If the biker gang didn't see him, how did the car 400 yards behind them see him?
Yeah.
And once he fires it, there's all the smoke and fire, and why would he hang around?
Yeah. Holy crap, they have a grenade launcher. Let's get out of here. Why would he hang around to see who it was? I wouldn't.
Yeah.
The other big problem with this theory is this. Sasha, Daryl, Abraham, none of them saw this car.
Yeah.
And none of them pointed it out. Now, Walking Dead this season has been a little bit sloppy with certain things, like Glenn not going up the fire escape when he's running away from the herd in the episode with him and Nicholas.
Yeah. Oh, that whole entire scene with him and Nicholas is fraught with inconsistencies and just bad editing and stuff like that.
Editing, they picked the wrong alleyway to go on, and there's so many logistic problems with that scene, and this, I think, could be just a logistical problem.
Yeah, like maybe they forgot to block the road and that's somebody pulling up, and, in the editing room, and they were like, well, this is by far the best cut of this scene, we'll just deal with the car, it's so far away, nobody will notice.
And again, this was an eagle-eyed viewer who caught this, so maybe in the editing room, they didn't catch it. Stuff like this gets missed all the time. Like
I didn't see it.
Like if you look at old, episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation, there's scenes where like the boom mic is in the frame. Stuff like this gets missed all the time. So it could be a production error.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we're thinking. And even if it's not, even if it's intentional and that was Negan, it just doesn't seem likely that he saw anything specific enough to be able to recognize Daryl. If anything, the only one he'd be able to recognize would be Abraham because of the flaming red hair.
And Abraham is a very large person. He'd be the easiest one to pick out.
Yeah.
And the last thing is, it would not be Negan's style at all to be out in the field overseeing his people.
Yeah,
not in this way, not in that particular scenario.
No, like he wouldn't be overseeing them, making sure they're doing a good job, which is kind of what that would feel like if that was him. His personality and his style from the comic, he would be right there. He would be the number one guy who was threatening to kill Sasha and Abra. That would have been him. Because he's if he's in the group, if he's there at all, he's up front and center. He would not be in the background watching.
No, he's not the kind of person to lead from behind.
Yeah.
Not at all. So if that is Negan in the car, I think they've got his character wrong.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like that's Negan.
Yeah, I agree. So now that we've poked all the holes in the fan theory that's going out there right now, we have a few theories ourselves of who might meet their end at the end of Lucille.
Okay, for me, the most likely character to die at the end of Lucille, the barbed wire bat, is still Glenn. He's had a lot of close calls this season, and I feel like it would just add to the tragedy that his luck has just been so good for so long, and it finally runs out.
I agree. I also think it's going to be Glenn because they've been following the story. Glenn and Maggie's story from the comic is pretty close to how it's going in the show. Especially with Maggie, like she just found out she's pregnant. They haven't announced it to everybody yet. That's kind of how it was right before they meet Negan. Like it just all signs point to it being Glenn, just like it was in the comics.
The second most likely character in my mind is Morgan. And the reason for that is because Morgan and Negan are complete antithesis to each other. To Morgan, all life is precious. To Negan, no life is precious. And it would be the ultimate tragic irony for Morgan to be executed by Negan. And The Walking Dead loves that tragic irony. And if anything, Morgan is one of the more disliked characters in the show right now because he body slammed Carol and he's almost a liability because of his unwillingness to kill. So I think that it would be like this kind of double whammy, like, oh, it's tragedy in the story because Morgan is kind of a valuable member of the group, but it would also be kind of a fist pump moment for the fans, like, yes, this person we hate just died. And there's nothing more fun as a viewer to both hate and love a villain at the same time, and that would do that for Negan.
But I would almost rather have Carol have to kill Morgan. Like, if I were to write Morgan's going out, it would be he does something just like with the wolf, and he refuses to kill, and Carol ends up having to kill him because she just doesn't have a choice. He's going to kill the community if he keeps this up. That's how I would like to see it, especially with all the confrontation they had in the last 2 episodes. It would just be very fulfilling as a fan to see Carol take him down.
To take Morgan out?
Yeah.
Our third most likely character to die at the end of Lucille is Abraham.
Yes.
Because if that is Negan in the car, Abraham's the person he's going to see. He's the biggest thing out there.
And he's got that bright red hair. That's so, I mean, if he's going to pick up anything out of that whole scene, it would be his bright red hair.
In his dress blues, bright red hair, large target, easily to pick out from that distance.
Yeah.
Probably the only individual he'll be able to pick out at that distance.
Yeah. And not only that, Abraham dies in the comics very close to when Glenn dies in the comics. So I kind of see Abraham dying. His story feels like it's going that way, especially with him and Sasha, their moment when they were off together. It just kind of feels like they're wrapping up his story. They're building something between them just to tear it away because they like to do that to Sasha.
Yeah.
So it feels like his character's going to die anyway. So because Glenn is such a beloved fan character, I could see them using Abraham instead. The character's scheduled to die anyway, and it saves the fans and gets rid of the character and just skipping how he actually dies in the comics.
In the comic, he takes a crossbow bolt through the head, and that would be super ironic and tragic as well if Dwight kills Abraham with Daryl's crossbow.
Yeah, it was.
So that wouldn't surprise me either. And the fourth and final most likely character to die at the end of Lucille, for us, is actually Maggie.
Yeah, which we don't want to happen. I so hope that we are wrong and that we are just reading too much into this.
Yeah. The reasons for this are varied. The first one is because we already have a baby.
Yeah.
Maggie is pregnant, but we already have Judith. So adding another baby to the fold just feels redundant to me.
Yeah, and it's kind of, Judith is kind of just there, and if Maggie has a baby, that baby's just going to be there too. Like, we just going to have 2 kind of useless characters hanging around that don't do anything for the story, and that, once they're born, it's kind of hard to kill them off. Fans get mad.
Yeah. The Walking Dead does love bait and switch.
Yes,
like they've done
Daryl and Beth.
Daryl
and Beth. They look like Daryl's going to die, but then Beth died. Yeah. So yeah, they do like it.
Glenn's had a ton of close calls. Maybe Maggie's going to die. That kind of thing. That Walking Dead loves to do this. The final thing that makes me think it could be Maggie is Lauren Cohan recently cut her hair. And typically when you're on a show like this, they want you to keep, in general, your same look. But that could also point to Glenn, because maybe, Maggie, in dealing with this tragedy, cuts
her hair. Yeah, exactly.
So it could go either way. That could be a sign that Maggie's going to die, or a sign that Glenn is going to die. It can go. That's both those are both baskets. Yeah. And those are really the only characters that I can imagine that death for.
Yeah. I don't see anybody else in the group that would have that death. And that death is coming.
Yeah.
It has to. If they skip that, I would be extremely upset because it just has to happen. It's so pivotal in Negan's character establishment.
Yeah. I don't think it can be Carol because she has a lot of plot armor because Robert Kirkman loves her and he regrets killing her off in the comic. He says he wrote her completely wrong in the comic and he loves her in the show. So she has just layers and layers of plot armor. She's fine.
Yeah, she's got so much that they could do with a whole bunch of things. They've got Sam, they've got Morgan. Like, there's just so much she can do right now.
Yeah. Rick and Carl, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, Rick's not going to die. He's the main character. Even though they say nobody's safe, I'm sorry, Rick's not going to die.
Yeah.
Carl was just shot. They're not going to kill Carl. He's not even going to be there, likely.
And Daryl, I think Daryl is 100% safe for the foreseeable future for this reason, and it's a very practical reason. AMC just gave Norman Reedus his own show. It's called Riding with Reedus or something like that. Or Ride with Reedus or Reedus Riding or something. And they're not going to throw money into that show and lose viewership because they let him leave this other show. Yeah,
they're not going to kill him off on The Walking Dead and therefore lose the viewers from The Walking Dead who are going to watch the show simply because Norman Reedus is in it. Because they're mad at AMC for killing him off.
Yeah, they're gonna lose viewers on two fronts. And I don't see them sinking money into giving him his own show if he's not going to be in their primary show. He's the most popular character on the network's most popular show.
Yeah. And that right there, he's the most popular character on the show. I mean, even more so than Rick, although they might be like neck and neck because people really like Andrew Lincoln as well. Like I said, shows always say nobody's safe, but I don't see them killing off Daryl. There'd just be too much fallout from that.
I think Rick, Daryl, Carol, they're safe for the foreseeable future. Daryl and Carol, probably a little less so than Rick.
Yeah.
Rick is the lead character, so he has built-in plot armor. I think he lives for the foreseeable future. We do have a couple of theories about in the comics, something they might be setting up with Rick. The one thing I really hope they don't do is leave it as a cliffhanger with the bat coming down, but we don't know who it is.
Yeah, I'd be really mad, especially if that's how this season ends. If that's the season finale, I will be so mad.
And it wouldn't surprise me if that's how it went. Like, we get like a first-person POV of Lucille coming down, and then the credits roll, and we don't know who it was.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me. I really hope they don't do it.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either, but I'm right there with them. I'll be so mad if that's how they do it, because we have to wait the entire summer to find out which one of our theories was correct.
Yeah.
And I want to know before then.
My money's on Glenn.
Yeah, me too. I still think it's going to be Glenn.
Alright, that's it for this video. I would love to know what you guys' theories are. Let us know down in the comments. Who do you think is going to meet their end?
Who's your top four?
Top four.
Top four.
Or five. Or
five, whatever.
Or three.
We'll start with four. What,
three or whatever. or if you are 100% convinced that it's this one person, let us know that too. Yeah. But if something has leaked, keep that out of the comments, please.
No show spoilers, please.
Yeah, for leaked information. Stuff that's already aired, go for it. But if something's leaked, please keep that out of the comments. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please let us know by clicking that like button and subscribe for more reviews and unboxings, Walking Dead videos, all kinds of geeky awesomeness.
And thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.